Can you please state your full name?
Sandra Lisette Yepes.
All right. So I'm going to be asking you 5 questions today, and I am asking if you can give as thorough an answer as possible. So the first question is, what was your day-to-day life before moving to the States? And how did that change afterwards once you got here?
Before I moved here, it was pretty much just being a kid. I would go to school, come home, play, also cook and clean. And once I came here, it was very challenging because I wasn't able to speak English, so it was hard for me to communicate with other students and with the teachers. But once I learned how to speak English, it was pretty much a lot easier.
Alrighty, on to the second question. What was one of your major challenges or hardships in life, and how did that shape you as a person you are today?
There is a lot that I can share on that, but I'm gonna share just one, and that is growing up without a father. It actually did have a big impact on my life, just growing up without a father. But how has it been a challenge? Because I think as a kid, you want to grow up with both of your parents. You want to have that father figure, and I didn't have that. So I can say that that's one of the hardships that I had.
The third question is, what was one of your biggest accomplishments that you are still proud of to this day?
Biggest accomplishment? Just overall being able to be a good mother. I think that's something that I think that it's I'm still trying to accomplish my best work on that. So that would be it.
Moving on to the fourth question. Is there one tradition that you used to have before moving to the United States that you no longer practice? Or are there any traditions that you do still practice to this day?
Traditions that I would practice, I think the only one that I can remember was for Christmas Eve, that we would stay up all the way to 1 o'clock to open up presents, at least one present, and then wait until the next day. Throughout the day, at the end, we would have like a lunch, and that's where all the family will gather and open up presents. And the other one that we still the other one would be for the New Year's Eve as well. We would do the same thing, stay up until 1 o'clock, and then they would always have family and friends over. So we still practice that, but we do it just as a household, not as, we don't invite other people. We just do it as a household. We still stay up until 12 o'clock so we can open presents on Christmas Eve, and then on the 31st is the same thing. We just wait until we put on the TV and we see the countdown, and we just hug each other and just enjoy ourselves.
All right. And for the last question, so knowing that you are Salvadorian, how has it been encountering that culture here in an area where it's mainly Mexican? Like, were you surrounded more by Mexican Americans versus Salvadorian Americans?
When I first came here, I was surrounded by Mexican people. It was Mexican everywhere. And then, but as I grew up, I started finding more people that were Salvadorian, which is, to me, was awesome because I can feel, the similarity to our culture. So yeah.
And if you had to say you were more in touch with either Salvadorian or American culture, which would it be?
I think it would have to be American culture because, like I said, there's different stages of my life, and right now I think it would be just American and Mexican and everything else except Salvadorian again. So yeah, it gets pretty, but I'm used to it. I'm used to just knowing a lot of people from different countries, and I really enjoy it because I get to know people that are a little bit different, and some countries do share some type of similarity to what they cook and how the words they say. So for me, it's awesome.
All right. And that concludes our interview. I would like to thank you for your participation, and I hope you have a nice day. Can you please state your full name?
Miguel Moreno Yepes.
Thank you. I'm going to be asking you a series of 5 questions, and I just ask if you could answer them as thoroughly as possible.
Okay.
So my first question is, what was your day-to-day life before moving to the US? How did that change or stay the same after when you got here?
Well, I was a very small child. We had to go to school. After school, we had to help our parents in their business. And really, we had a lot of freedom as well. And it didn't change that much as we moved out here. When we migrated to the US, it was pretty much the same. We had to go to school, first was school, then help my mother in her business.
All right. The second question is, what was a major hardship or challenge in your life, and how did that affect you in becoming the person you are today?
Major hardship? With you. As a child, you had a bit of a complication with your health. It was tough, but it made me stronger. It made me appreciate life a lot more and appreciate my kids a lot more.
All right. The third question is, what was one of your biggest accomplishments that you're still proud of to this day?
Having a great family. Yeah, creating a great family that I have. And owning real estate.
Our next question is there one tradition you used to have before moving to the States that you no longer do? Or are there any traditions that you still have kept with you to this day?
Well, we had some for New Year's. That for every bell at midnight, we had to eat a grape. Which we still sort of do now. I think last year we didn't do it, but it's a tradition that we had since we were little kids. But we still do it.
Are there any you don't maybe do anymore or you miss?
The Posadas. Definitely the Posadas for in Mexico. We had to walk around block to block, street to street, and sing and have a good time, which here in the States it's not really possible.
All right. And for the last question, so as a Mexican person living in the States, do you feel like you identify with one culture more than the other? You know, do you identify more with the Mexican culture, whether it's like Mexican culture, Mexican American culture, or do you identify more with just American culture?
Definitely with the Mexican culture. Mexican American culture is different from Mexican culture. But yes, definitely Mexican culture.
Right. Do you feel like it was easy to be able to keep in touch with that culture? Or do you feel like it was a bit difficult?
Well, it's not difficult living in California because the majority is Latinos, and there's a lot of Mexicans. So pretty much anywhere you go, you could feel the Latino vibe, you know. So yeah, it's not that difficult here in California. Were to be in a different state, it would probably be tough.
And that concludes this interview. I would like to thank you for your cooperation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.